The story of British coins in India does not begin with a king, but with a corporation. The East India Company, a group of ambitious English traders, arrived in India seeking spices and profits. They found a land with many kingdoms and many different currencies. Each local ruler, from the mighty Mughals to smaller princely states, minted their own distinct coins. This created a complex and often confusing system for trade. Imagine a merchant trying to do business across different regions, needing to constantly exchange one type of coin for another. It was a chaotic and inefficient way to build a commercial empire, something the company was determined to change for its own benefit. To simplify their vast and growing operations, the company needed a single, reliable currency. They needed money that would be accepted everywhere their influence reached. So they began to mint their own coins. At first, these coins cleverly imitated the local designs, especially those of the powerful Mughal emperors. This was a strategic move. By using familiar symbols and styles, the company's money was more easily accepted by the local population. They were not just introducing new money, they were slowly weaving their economic power into the very fabric of Indian commercial life, making their presence feel less foreign and more a part of the existing system. The transition was gradual but relentless. The company established its own mints in major cities like Calcutta, Bombay and Madras. These factories of money churned out coins that slowly replaced the diverse currency of the subcontinent. The first coins, under the East India Company's authority, still bore the name of the Mughal emperor, a sign of respect, or perhaps a calculated political move to avoid upsetting the established order. But the real power was shifting. The company was no longer just a group of merchants. It was becoming a ruling power, and its coins were the tangible proof of this incredible transformation. This period marked a profound change in India's economic history. A land that had for centuries thrived on a diverse tapestry of local currencies was now being pushed towards a single, standardized monetary system. This was not just about making trade easier, it was a statement of control. The power to create and regulate money is one of the ultimate signs of sovereignty. As the East India Company's coins spread from the bustling port cities to the remote villages, they carried a clear message. A new economic order had arrived, and it was here to stay, backed by the growing might of British commercial and military power. After the Great Indian Uprising of 1857, the British Crown took direct control from the East India Company. This was a monumental shift. India was no longer the trading ground of a corporation. It was now the jewel in the crown of the British Empire. This change was immediately reflected in the coins. The pretense of Mughal authority was dropped. The coins now proudly displayed the portrait of the British monarch. Queen Victoria's image appeared on rupees, annas and pice, looking out over her vast new territory. This was a powerful act of political branding, stamping the authority of a distant queen onto the daily transactions of millions of Indians. The designs evolved with each new monarch. After Queen Victoria came King Edward VII, then King George V, and finally King George VI. Each king's effigy graced the coins, marking the passage of time and the continuation of British rule. The other side of the coin, the reverse, also carried imperial symbols. It often featured intricate floral patterns, reminiscent of classic Indian designs, but crowned with the words India and the denomination. It was a fusion of styles, a blend of local artistry with an unmistakable assertion of imperial dominion. The coins were, in essence, miniature monuments to the British Raj, circulating in every marketplace. The materials used for these coins also tell a story of empire and economy. The most valuable coin, the 1 rupee, was traditionally made of silver. For centuries, silver had been the standard of wealth and trust in India. The British continued this tradition, minting millions of heavy, reliable silver rupees. Lower denomination coins were made from copper, and later bronze and cupro-nickel. The choice of metal was not just practical, it was deeply psychological. The silver rupee felt substantial and real. It gave people confidence in the currency, a crucial element for maintaining economic stability across a vast and diverse empire. However, the consistency of these materials was not always guaranteed. The fortunes of the British Empire, its wars and its economic policies directly impacted the money in an Indian farmer's pocket. If the global price of silver skyrocketed, the value of the metal in a rupee coin could become worth more than its face value of 1 rupee. This created a temptation to melt coins down, a problem the government had to constantly manage. The coins were therefore not just static objects, they were active participants in the economic tides that swept across the globe, connecting a village in Punjab to the metal markets in London. The year 1917 was a time of immense turmoil. The First World War, the Great War, was raging across Europe, and the British Empire was pouring all its resources into the conflict. India played a crucial role, providing vast numbers of soldiers and enormous quantities of materials for the war effort. This global conflict had a direct and dramatic impact on the coinage of British India. Silver, the precious metal used for the iconic 1 rupee coin, suddenly became critically important for the war. It was needed to pay for war supplies and to stabilize international economies, and its price soared to unprecedented levels on the world market. Faced with this severe silver shortage, the British government in India had a major problem. They could no longer afford to mint the traditional silver rupees in the required quantities. The metal in the coin was becoming more valuable than the coin itself. This led to widespread hoarding and melting of existing silver coins, creating a dire currency shortage that threatened to cripple the Indian economy. The government had to act fast. They needed a substitute for the silver rupee, something that people would trust and accept for their daily business, but which did not use the scarce and expensive precious metal. This was a moment of crisis and innovation. The solution was radical for its time, a 1 rupee banknote. For the first time, the British Indian government issued paper money for this crucial denomination. But paper was fragile and unfamiliar to many. The government also experimented with a new coin. They decided to mint a 1 rupee coin made of cupro-nickel, a cheaper and more available alloy of copper and nickel. This 1917 cupro-nickel rupee was a significant departure from tradition. It was lighter and looked different from the silver coin people knew and trusted. Its introduction was a gamble, a necessary measure born out of the desperation of war. This is what makes the 1917 coin so special. It represents a specific moment of crisis and adaptation. While the cupro-nickel 1 rupee coin was not minted in large numbers for circulation and the paper banknote became the primary solution, the coins that were struck are a physical testament to the pressures of the First World War on the Indian subcontinent. The 1917 coins, particularly the silver ones still being produced before the crisis peaked, were among the last of their kind before the system was forced to change. They mark the end of an era of abundant silver currency and the beginning of a new monetary reality shaped by global conflict. In its heyday, the 1917 silver rupee was a workhorse of the Indian economy. It was a tangible measure of value, clutched in the hands of farmers selling their produce at the market, merchants settling accounts in bustling city bazaars, and British officials paying local workers. A single rupee could buy a significant amount of food or goods, making it a vital part of daily life for millions. It passed through countless hands, its silver surface gradually wearing smooth with each transaction. The coin witnessed personal joys and hardships, the grand sweep of history unfolding in the small everyday exchanges between people from all walks of life, from the grandest colonial mansions to the humblest village huts. As time moved on, the world changed. India gained its independence in 1947, and the era of British rule came to an end. The coins bearing the portraits of British kings and queens were gradually withdrawn from circulation, replaced by the new currency of a sovereign Republic of India, featuring national symbols like the Ashoka lion capital. The old British Indian coins were returned to banks, melted down and repurposed. For a time, they simply vanished from public life, becoming relics of a bygone era. Their journey as active currency was over, but a new chapter in their story was just beginning. Decades later, these coins began to find a new purpose. They emerged from old forgotten jars, dusty drawers and buried hoards, catching the eye of a new kind of admirer, the collector. Numismatists, people who study and collect coins, started to seek them out. They were no longer interested in the coin's monetary value, but in its historical significance. Each coin was a miniature time capsule. The portrait of King George V, the date 1917, and the mint mark told a specific story about the British Empire at the height of its power, yet strained by a world war. The coin was no longer just money, it was a historical document. Today, the 1917 British India coin is highly prized by collectors and historians. It is more than just a piece of silver. It is a direct physical link to a pivotal year in world history. For historians, it illustrates the economic pressures the First World War placed on the British Empire and its colonies. For collectors, its beautiful design and the story it tells make it a treasure. It represents the complex relationship between India and Britain, a story of trade, power and conflict. This small metal disc, once used to buy rice or pay a wage, has travelled through time to become a cherished artifact, preserving the memory of a world that has long since disappeared.